Hi, Mr. Johnson. Thank
Hi.
you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So, today is our last session, and I just wanted to thank you for allowing me to utilize the skills that I have learned in my class this semester.
It's no problem. Thank you.
I feel like it's been a benefit to me, and utilizing these skills in these sessions have hopefully provided some benefits to you. Towards the end of this class or this session with you, I would like to talk about a self-reflection and maybe some things that have helped you during these sessions. But prior to doing that, I would like to do just a normal session like we've had the last previous times.
Okay.
Last time we talked about some issues you were having with homework with your daughter. She was having some frustrations. You guys would sit down and you guys would she would get frustrated, you guys would feed off that frustration, vice versa, and it would just turn into a very frustrating evening for all of you, your wife and her, and it was a very ugly evening for homework, and then it would just escalate. So tell me how things have been going.
Um, it, from the last point in time when we discussed everything, it's gotten a little better. She still has her moments where she gets flustered and frustrated, but we just kind of send her off. We send her to her room, let her cool down from whatever frustrations she has, for a couple of minutes. Then we bring her back in, and we'll either explain whatever question, problem, whatever it is, in a different manner, or the simplest way to where she can understand it. And if she still doesn't get it, then we'll just keep alternating the different ways to try and explain to her, how to get the correct answer, and it seems to work pretty good.
Now, one thing that we had talked about last time was giving that positive reinforcement, and I had suggested maybe little M&Ms or little chocolate chips or something like that. Have you guys utilized those techniques?
Not as much. We haven't really had the need to, but we'll kind of do it as an overall. Say, hey, if we can go through this without having any major issues, then we'll go ahead. We'll go here, or we'll do this, or you can get that, and that seemed to work out pretty good.
That's a great
Yeah.
response, knowing that in the end result, rather than it just being, for one problem, you have to give her that positive reinforcement at the end of the week or at the end of the evening. She's getting something big instead of, needing that after one problem.
Yeah.
Um, Overall, how have things been going at school?
They've been going pretty good, and she's learned a lot to. As far as academically, she's still doing good. As far as bullying, she's getting better as far as handling it on her own. And she still has issues with the bullying itself and the inappropriate touching or whatever it may be. But we always try to reinforce that, hey, when this happens, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. So that way she's doing everything she's supposed to try and basically nip it in the bud to end it herself instead of just kind of letting it happen. We'll tell her, hey, the bullies, they feed off of what bothers you, so you show them that it's not bothering you.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, they're going to stop, move on. But however, don't stop telling the teacher or somebody in the faculty about what's going on, because then he's just going to do it to another kid. So, and that seems to be going pretty well.
I'm glad to hear that all these things that we've talked about seem to be resolving over the last few weeks. Um, I know from my own experiences that parent-teacher conferences were just a few weeks ago. Were there any issues or were there any surprises that you guys had during conferences, or were?
My wife was the only one who was able to go because I had a class that's still currently in. But academically, she's right on cue where she should be, and no severe issues of her like being out of line or talking too much, this, that, or the other. So I mean, it's been a real plus for her in school and as well as at home.
So tell me how that makes you feel.
It makes me feel pretty happy, and I know there's still stressors here and there, but overall, it's not as stressful as an environment. Especially like you said, we're not sitting there feeding off of each other's stressors and snowballing it into an even worst scenario or making an uneasy environment or whatever the case may be.
From last session to now, I can see a much relaxed Mr. Johnson. The look on your face talking about homework is not, it's not even remotely comparable to how it was last time. You are much more calm when we're talking about it than you were last week or 2 weeks ago when we met. Last time we met, you were very frustrated, and it showed on your face. You can tell that you're a lot less frustrated and you're a lot calmer when you're talking about it. So I can only assume that you're portraying those feelings to Lauren when you're talking about it to her.
Yeah.
Can you tell me if you're feeling any of those same emotions when you're talking to her?
As far as being frustrated or
You're feeling a sense of calm when
Yeah,
you're talking to her?
because I know in the end, it's like if I were frustrated or irritated about something, kind of look at it in the light as I wouldn't want somebody who's frustrated and irritated to talk to me in the manner, and which was happening, because it's not going to move in a positive direction. So two negatives don't make a positive. So only a positive can force a negative to be a positive. And it's definitely the way to go.
It's good that she has a more positive approach now. And so she's probably not as frustrated as she once was with homework, or
No,
is she?
and I mean it definitely shows with her reading, because with that, I guess we can go ahead and just call it negative reinforcement, because it sure isn't as positive as it could be. She would show signs of not wanting to necessarily read to her full potential, which we knew she was able to do, but now under the new circumstances of the more positive reinforcements on her reading, problem solving, um, she can pick up a book and she'll read it from beginning to end and not have any issues. And if there's a word, we don't have to sit there and be like, hey, sound it out, this, that, and the other, do that. She does it on her own. And I mean, even if she doesn't spell things right when she's writing it out, we know she understands the concept, and she is legitimately trying her best to do what she can to solve whatever problems put in front of her.
What do you think changed with the reading?
It seemed beforehand that we knew she knew what certain words were,
Mm-hmm.
but it almost seemed like she thought she would get a better reaction if she portrayed that she didn't know what the word was, and then, oh, I sounded it out. Look at me, I accomplished something huge. So we gave her a positive reinforcement that if you already know the word, it's better to read it from A to Z versus sounding out everything when you already know it. So it shows that she's progressing the more she actually does, instead of staying on point A, if that made any sense.
So how do you, I guess, explain to me a little bit more about how do you think she's actually handling it now? You said she's doing more on her own. She's reading at the same level she should be.
She's actually above the level. She gets, I guess the way they label their books as far as difficulty is an alphabetical system.
Mm-hmm.
She gets sent home with like type F books. I don't know how to place that on a difficulty scale, but we'll go to the library and my wife will get out type O books and she reads those no problem. So the books that she gets sent home from class are supposed to take her 20 minutes per book. Well, we got the longest book that she got sent home with, and she read it from start to finish in 3.5 minutes. So
I can tell that she's clearly not being challenged when it comes to reading. So
yes,
you're telling me that she's very capable and competent to read these books, and she's portraying herself as possibly not being able to read them, but you and your wife know that she's very
Yes.
capable and competent in reading these books. As you guys know, when you take her to the library, she can read these books.
yeah, correct.
That's
Yes.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, makes more sense.
So instead of us
now.
giving her the book and her acting like she doesn't know what any of the words are, or how to pronounce them, say, hey, here, read this book, and she gets all excited. Hey, Lauren, why don't you read us a book? She'll grab 5 books and bring them out, and she'll want to read every single one of them to you.
So now when she's reading with you, is she choosing the books herself, or are these books that you guys are choosing for her?
When they go to the library, I'll normally watch Gabe and Leslie will sit there and they will go through all the books. She'll pick kind of a difficulty setting that she knows Lauren will be able to read or challenge her a little. And from there, Lauren will decide, hey, I want to read this book, or this one looks interesting, whether it be the pictures, the title, or whatnot. So
Okay.
it's really nice to see. It really is.
I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell the look on your face that alone is a reward. It's rewarding to know that the intelligence in your daughter. I mean, because you want your daughter to be intelligent, and you want your daughter to be smart and to strive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't want them to become complacent and just slide by and do okay or mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and to know that she's reading on a level above where she should be is something that you should be proud of. And she should be proud of.
Yeah.
And that's something that when she's struggling with other homework, maybe reinforce that, this might be difficult, but this area over here isn't so difficult. So if we
Mm-hmm.
work on this and, maybe math is something that she has difficulty with. If we work on math and have fun with our math as much as you enjoy reading now, maybe it will become easy
Mm-hmm.
as much as you enjoy reading now. So are there areas where she doesn't enjoy doing work?
I guess right now you could kind of say math. I don't know if it's the actual problem solving or the fact that she's not quite on the scale that um, I guess you could say that we are at, that we're trying to get her to learn. But I mean, she's slowly yet surely getting there, and we're trying to do the positive reinforcement, trying to teach her the best way possible. That we feel that she would learn better and quicker, and once she realizes, hey, I understand this,
Mm-hmm.
or hey, this isn't as bad as I thought it was, then she'll go ahead and she'll progress, at a better rate.
Now, when you and your wife are teaching her these practices or these math techniques at home, are you utilizing the same techniques that they're utilizing at school, or are you familiar with the same?
Not too familiar with how exactly they're running it at school.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get to talk to the teachers often, and I don't know if she asked any of those questions at teacher conferences.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we just kind of develop our own, and then we definitely get advice from you that we utilize and works very well.
I know one of the techniques that we had talked about before, not in a session, but just as friends, is the use of a cash register, a cash register drawer. Is that something that she's perceptive to and that she's utilizing?
Yeah, she likes doing it, but trying to get her to comprehend the math skills, like, hey, you don't need to take you know 20 nickels to make such and such. You got this many nickels equals a quarter. So try and use the least amount of coins as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we try and go, hey, okay, you know how to count by fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Okay, you can take all these, and how much is this?
Mm-hmm.
And trying to get her to grasp that, it's a little difficult, but once she finally grasps it, and goes, hey,
Yeah.
then that's when the ball really start rolling. So it's just another process.
Well, it sounds like with the school, with her education, with her utilizing the cash register and the positive reinforcement that you guys are using, and her reading techniques that she is soaring on, and the bullying, and you guys are standing firm on your techniques with the bullying and enforcing that she still tells a teacher if something happens. It sounds like things are going really well with you guys. I would like to shift gears and see how has these sessions and the skills that we have been talking about, how have they really helped your family? Have they helped you at all? Have you really learned anything from these sessions?
Mainly the frustration, kind of like what I said earlier, that two negatives don't make a positive. So when I know that she's getting frustrated, it's not going to do the situation any good if I start getting just as frustrated or worse. And she's not going to learn the way that we would like or that she needs to. And it's everybody's stress levels are going to go up, and that's not good for anybody. So that's definitely an eye opener when we discussed all that.
Yeah. Have you learned anything else from the sessions?
Um, Always to keep in mind the positive reinforcement, regardless of what the scenario is. I mean, even if it doesn't involve homework, and um, if she decides to get a tantrum, or I see that she's getting stressed out, whether it be with homework or just outside playing with other kids, that talking to them about what they did, what the better choice is, this, that, and the other is a far better way to go.
I know that with just how you have approached the situations with counseling and how your demeanor and how we have talked, I can honestly say that my perception of how you have handled the situations outside of these has definitely changed. Um, I honestly, if you do you feel like you need to continue counseling services?
I mean, probably not, but I'm kind of one of those people where it's not going to hurt, and constantly being guided in the right direction is it's never going to be bad for me, and nor is it going to be bad for anybody else.
Um, I know you are in the Army, and the Army does offer Army One Source, which is a program for counseling services. Army One Source they have a 1-800 number that is available 24/7. With that 1-800 number, you can contact them, and they have resources available for a variety of different counseling services, not just for you, but I do know that you have a special needs child. I do know that your wife is pregnant. I do know that you guys are moving soon, and those are all things that can cause a lot of stress in your family, not only on just yourself, but on your family as a whole. And so, Army One Source can provide services and counseling services for not just you, but they can provide services for your entire family.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you feel the need to continue services for just yourself, that is a tool that you may utilize. However, if you feel like your family could utilize services, it's also a tool that you can utilize for your entire family.
Yeah.
I have really appreciated you utilizing or you coming to me for me to utilize my skills that I've learned in class. I feel that I have learned a lot in the last few weeks of class, and I hope that I have been a benefit to you and your family.
Oh, definitely.
Um, I appreciate you allowing me to take the time, these 3 sessions, and providing me the most information that you can. I know it's not easy to provide information to someone and open up their lives, but I do appreciate it. And if you need any further information and any further counseling services, I do recommend that you call Army One Source.
Will do. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for everything. I really
Thank
do
you.
appreciate it.